Hey, it's Heather, and welcome to another adventure in gardening. So today we're going to take a tour around the garden. It's going to be the April tour, even though it is the last day of April, because I really wanted to do an April tour, but I started to look around and I'm like, April is ugly. I mean, it's pretty and it's ugly. And then I went on a road trip and we went out into the middle of Connecticut into a beautiful area. And April was pretty there. And I'm like, what am I missing that makes it so that I think it's ugly? And the answer is grass. Green grass. Here in New England, the beautiful spring green grass frames everything so beautifully. And the reason I don't have it is because in 2016, we started major projects here, and it has not stopped. It just keeps on going. I kept on gardening the whole time because, I'm the band playing while the Titanic is sinking. But, I've had a great, few years gardening during it, but it's just been one project after the other. Construction, destruction, yard projects, and that's really what's going on right now. It's like yard projects. But I'm like, we're gonna show everything that's going on in the gardens right now, or at least most of the garden, because I filmed everything this morning when the sun was rising, and it was so pretty. And I didn't really show everything. I didn't show all the gardens, but I showed you some of the highlights. If not for you, then I did it for me. And we'll do, May is much prettier here. And and I know why. It's because the weeds in the lawn, or where the lawn should be, grow and it frames it. There's something, I'm not a pro lawn, I'm really not. But there's something about the green grass that frames the gardens and makes everything tie together. So let's start right here with the arch from last year that I had the sweet autumn clematis growing on. And what happened here is we had a really bad windstorm in the winter, and it blew it and snapped it. So it's starting over. And I really think it's going to take and just cover this year, because look at all of the new growth here. And on this side is a rose that is reaching the top right there. So there's a lot of work out here to do. I started putting mulch down. You can see kind of where I stopped though. But lots of perennials coming up. Everything is looking so beautiful this year. There's echinacea up here. A daylily, peony right there. Those are some tulips in the back that I just planted this year that I bought. Lots of leopard Spain getting ready to bloom here. You can see all the tips in the sunlight. It looks so pretty. I love this time of day. This is just beautiful. And of course, lots of garden phlox. Another peony right there is another peony. The variegated daylily, I love this plant. I have it in a couple places. And what happens to this plant is it loses its variegation as it kind of grows new parts of it. So I just dig it up and take the green away. This is Jacob's ladder. I have that in a couple places. Lots of iris in here. Lavender plant. Hey, Ben. And let's see, on this side there's a little tiny peony that I accidentally dug this up one time. This is a white one. It has not ever bloomed yet, but it looks really good this year. Variegated dogwood with all the new growth. The chick charms that I got last year looks really good. The buddleia. Okay, so this buddleia, I think it's just, I think the only part, I think it had winter kill up top, and now I think it's starting over at the base. Actually, I'm not sure. I think we just need to wait that out and see what's going to happen next. And so the Jacob's ladder on this side is actually just started to bloom. We had rain yesterday. We have rain coming again today, and I'm pretty grateful for that. And I'm also grateful for this beautiful moment this morning with the sunrise. So I figured we'd get a quick tour in for April because it's the last day of April. But look at that, that's so pretty. And the heuchera right below it. Oh, I was so excited. Look, this is an epimedium right here. Look at that little tiny epimedium that I actually ripped it out last year early by accident. I was so quick in my weeding, but look, it came back. I'm so excited. I am just a big fan of epimediums. I want them all. There's some tansy right there. That's tansy. And some pansies. The pansies next to the tansy. All right, so we'll walk around the other way now. Some beautiful phlox that I actually need to divide it this year because there's a lot of grass growing in the middle, and I get very annoyed by that. I don't like that. So I will dig it all up. This hill, I've been trying to pretend that doesn't exist because I actually have done nothing to it this year. And there's just so many weeds in here. I mean, obviously down further where I planted the daylilies new, it's good. We're good down there. It's up here where, yeah, all right. So I have to take care of that. And so these are my stone stairs that I adore. Whoever put these in, however long, it was 100 years ago somebody put these in. They probably, if you never hear from me again, it's like, tell my husband, check the stone stairs, because she probably tripped. But I do love to see them. This is the hugel right here where I've been building up the hillside for quite a while. The back side obviously is not ready for planting, but the front side I planted last year and I planted again this year. So I've got kale, cabbage, broccoli, and okay, two kinds of kale there. So that looks really good. And oh, on this side here, I planted a lavender hedge. It's a short one, super blue. That's the one that I planted, and lots and lots of winter kill. Can you see that? So I need to get in there and trim them up. All right, so we will walk around this way. Those are Hemerocallis fulva there. This is where the line stops, where the daylilies that I bought and planted and the Hemerocallis fulva. This is supposed to be a walkway. And this right here is where those raised beds were last year that my father-in-law took them out for me, and now I'm going to be using this for hosta, and there's a little hydrangea in there that is florist grown, so that's why it looks kind of weird and compact like that. Lots of hostas poking through. That one's blue cadet. Summon substance. Oh, summon substance is not making a good showing. I'm not sure what's. Oh no, that's not summon substance. All right, whoever you are, you're not making a good showing. There's summon substance right here. All right. You can see some of the hostas are further along than others, and there's mayapple on the wood line right there. I'm hoping to see a lot more of mayapple and more hostas on this side. Oh, bleeding heart. Look at that. That's a beauty. And every shot, every shot. Penny? Hey, Pen, look at me. She says, nope. Yeah, okay, that's you. Yep. All right, next to the bleeding heart. All right, so we will go over here. We have some columbine, and look right down in here. This is, see the purple? That is lunaria. That's the money plant. Is that what it's called? Yeah. It looks like paper coins. All right, so this one is comfrey and that one is lunaria. They self-sowed themselves, and there's going to be a lot of them this year. I'm really excited about that. You can tell the daffodils are heavy from the rain last night. These have been blooming for quite a while. Here's my little boxwood hedge on the left and the right. And I've got a really nice looking peony over here. And some tulips that I inadvertently dug with this peony when I moved it. This is a Montauk daisy. Not a lot of winter kill on the Montauk daisies. They look really good. Some teucrium. I had to cut back the whole teucrium hedge here. It'll regrow. And I wanted to show you what St. John's wort looks like when it's very, very young. It's got some really pretty color to it. And there's lots of St. John's wort, and that's a great medicinal herb. I'm not sure what happened with this peony right here. Well, maybe it's just a little bit later. But look at this weird growth. This is normal, and that's weird. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that. Oh, this side, this is my favorite. I love this walkway. I love how my feet basically have kept this plant off the path. I do pull it every once in a while. Lady's mantle right here. Looks pretty. And this is the bloomerang. Lots of buds on the bloomerang. Lilac. This is that Bartzella peony right here. I love that color. Love, love, love it. The hyacinths. And these hyacinths have literally been in here for so many years, and they come back full. I've been actually picking them and putting them in vases, but they come back full every year. Not in every location, but here they do. So there's some new perennials in here. I think that's globe thistle in the back. Looking forward to seeing that. There's two peonies right there just coming up. Now let's go take a look at some other gardens. So up on the deck just yesterday, because you know, when you have houseplants that you want to put outside, when you have a rainy, overcast day, it is the perfect day to go ahead and put your plants outside. So I put them out yesterday, and I don't really think it's supposed to be sunny today. I think it's going to continue to be a rainy day, but they should be fine. They look really great. They appreciate being outdoors again. So on this side, we've got lots of lamb's ear coming in really nice. Love that. My cold frames have just some netting over top here just to keep the cats out. And of course the arugula is already, this is last year's arugula, So, but so arugula, you can eat this whole part here. All right, you can eat this, you can eat the buds, you can still eat the leaves even after they've bolted. So it is a wonderful plant. And the same thing goes for kale. These little tips right here, just use them like you would broccoli. I mean, if you had enough of them, but I just snap them and put them in salad, all of those little buds. So some Swiss chard growing, and there's lots of Swiss chard seedlings in here too. The garlic that I planted last fall is coming in, and I think that there are 5 different varieties of garlic in here, and I forget how many heads. This is location number 1 of 2 of the garlic. But hey man, it looks really nice. I love it. It's going to be great. So I need to fertilize this garlic now and make sure it keeps well watered at least until, well, at least through the month of May. And down in the front row are the shallots. First time growing shallots, super excited. So over here is the garden that I have goldenrod and teasel and a lot of kind of miscellaneous things. The string is up because Annabelle will not stay out of there. So, or the cats, but the string doesn't keep the cats out. But nothing really to see. This is a witch hazel right here. The hostas that are edging it. These hostas came from my grandmother's garden. I do not know the variety, but they don't mind the sun over here. They look good all season long. So we'll look at this garden another day. Just kind of like a mismatch of things, but I've got big plans for it. I've got my apple trees at the bottom here, or 2 of the apple trees. Let's see, where do we want to start? Yeah, we'll start with the apple. Well, let's start over here at the cherry trees. So there are 2 cherry trees here. One is right here, and it's already bloomed. I'm going to have to net it this year, I think, because the birds are just, yeah. And someone's getting old and has stopped chasing birds like she used to there. I don't remember the varieties of cherry right now. I want to say there's 2 different ones. Look at all the blooms on this cherry tree. That looks great. Apple tree looks great. This lilac right here. You know, it's funny how plants and memories go together. So this lilac, my dad showed up on Mother's Day. I want to say, oh gosh, how many years ago was it? He was just so proud. He bought me this lilac, and I didn't have any here. So this is every year I think about him showing up, bringing me this lilac. I love the fragrance. Okay, so on this side are the gooseberries. We are going to have a stellar crop of gooseberries this year. Look at all those buds. We're rich in gooseberries. More gooseberries down here. This is one side of the cutting garden. There's Lismachia everywhere. I really like Lismachia. I'll just mow it if it's in the way, if it gets in the path. But so this cutting garden, this was the bulbs that I want to say it was 2016 or 17. My husband's like, yeah, I'm gonna build my deck. You got a month to move all your plants. I literally dumped all my bulbs here. This fall, I'm going to dig them up and replant them because it's way too tight. It's just way too tight, but I'm pretty sure that this one was Mount Hood. There's some really pretty ones in here, like really pretty. This one I especially like. I don't remember what it was called, but see, there's like 2 blooms on the stalk there. And I love this. And yeah, I remember buying that. That's a parrot tulip. I think it's the only one still left. And I love that little frilly one there. So pretty. So the only other thing that's in this area here are nettles. Lots and lots and lots of nettles. And someday, hopefully that stump will rot. But I have nettle tea every day. Actually, more like nettle decoction because I simmer it for 20 minutes and then I let it sit. Super nutritious. So this little shrub right here, this is a cherry bush. And the way, I don't know, let me get a better angle here, a better shot. The way that these cherries grow, I love this cherry. It has big pits though. We're gonna have a lot of them this year. They grow, the cherries grow right on the stem with no stems of their own, if that makes sense. I didn't have any last year because both of these cherries, there's one on either side of the, one on either side of the stairs. Both of them ended up with, I don't know, some kind of issue, and I cut them back. I mean, I did a really bad job. I cut them back hard because I didn't want to look at them anymore. And this one is just growing back, but this one on this side grew back last year. And we're gonna have a lot of cherries. For some reason, I don't have to, these are tart cherries, by the way. For some reason, I don't have as much of a problem fighting the birds on these. So this area right here is the hill garden that I've kind of got little swaths of the same plant. That's an ornamental grass. There's some phlox in between that didn't do too well because it took me so long to get the grass cut back, and some iris. There's 2 different kinds of iris there. And some more lamb's ear. You can see the bulbs at the top, flowering bulbs. The Aster tartaricus. I mean, you know, plants that are like kind of aggressive and thugs, if you put them in the right place, they do the work for you. There is some lemon balm in here. I'm not sure what I was thinking when I planted the lemon balm, hoping that it would just take over, and it kind of, I don't know, it's getting squished out a little bit, but I use lemon balm for sleepy tea. There's rose campion in here and milkweed as well. Now over here is my tomato plant structure that I can put about 40 tomato plants in the whole thing. I do need to make some soil amendments this year. Back on this side, the Rosa rugosa, you know, speaking of thugs that'll take over, it is here on purpose. It is here because I make a lot of rose hip tea, and I got enough rose hips from this little spot here last year to last me for the winter. It is that season where they're not going to stop making that noise because they're like, hey you want to build a nest? Oh, the dappled willow is in here. I forget the name of this iris. It's kind of like a ground cover iris. There's some agastache in here. Little. This is bluebird agastache with artemisia, and I'll just pull the artemisia out that's too close to the agastache. There's also milkweed in here, some fall blooming anemones. They look really pretty. There's a lot of cleanup still to do. I'm behind, but you can find beauty in everything. Look at how pretty this agastache is. I just like saying agastache. Makes me sound fancy. Montauk daisy, spirea. No, Heather, not spirea. Clethra. Clethra is just starting to bud out. More of the ground cover iris. One is purple, one is white. This right here is lemon thyme. Have it in a couple places down here. This is elderberry, the native elderberry that is on this side. This is by far one of my favorite gardens. Okay, so this is a swath that I basically created years ago with wood chips, and then I let it rot, and then I started planting hostas in it and other plants that like part shade, part sun, like this ginger. And remember, I don't know if you remember, but last year during the drought, I actually put these gingers in here. And I took a ginger and I divided it and I put it through here, and it struggled, but man, look at it now. It is gorgeous, just gorgeous. And let's see, lots of hosta. Lots of hosta coming up. I do have some sage growing and some lamium down here. I popped a bunch of the bulbs from the baby shower in here, the grape hyacinths, and there's regular hyacinths. Another hosta. This is pasque flower down here. This is the spent bloom from the pasque flower, which just looks really pretty. The little ground cover plant that you see everywhere is it's a type of persicaria. It's called painter's palette. And I was down here yesterday, and I'm like, you got a lot of yellow, like a lot of yellow in here. The primroses are starting to self-sow and naturalize themselves. And there's hosta that kind of continue that yellow color. This in here is the epimedium that I did not cut the foliage back. So you let the foliage go all winter on epimediums, and then you should trim it back to let the new pretty foliage shine. But yeah, I should go through here and clean it up. But there's a couple of different epimediums, plus I've got this this fern growing in here. But you can see the difference in the foliage of the epimediums. There's this one and that one. So that one with the reddish color is actually a pink flower. And I've got the oak leaf hydrangea just starting to leaf out. That looks really great. I'm going to back up just a little bit because I've got the ostrich fern growing in here in a couple different places. Another epimedium, so pretty. And I have a red bleeding heart right there. So this was my big purchase this spring. My first hellebore, tropical sunrise, I think. It's really pretty. Penny. My little hosta island. You know, I've been fighting with squirrels all winter long here. Man, they just want to, oh yeah, they just want to bury stuff and dig it up, bury it and dig it up. But it looks like all of my hostas have come back. And we will look at the hostas another day as I start to mature. So there's some elderberries here, and the elderberry shoots are starting to pop up all through here, and that's perfectly fine with me. I'll just move stuff to a different location as the elderberries take over. That's all good. But I've got a couple of hostas in here. That one is Autumn Frost, I believe. A new sedum I planted this year. And then this sawtooth epimedium growing through a hydrangea. Gorgeous. So at the entrance of the salad garden, I've got this North Pole apple tree growing. It's blooming. It looks really great. So the salad garden is one of the areas this year where there's going to be some construction or destruction. Because, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago, there used to be a wall here and the wall fell. And so my husband's going to build a new wall here to make it so that it pushes back where it's supposed to go, and then I have more room for a vegetable garden. You can see my new arch that I put in, my cattle panel arch, MacGyver style. You don't even want to know, okay? Didn't do it like everybody else does it, but that's okay. And there's onions, see there's onions, and then there's lettuce, and then on this side are peas. I think I'm going to plant some sweet peas on here just for color too. But anyway, back to this wall. So I have spent all right, my specialty is making ugly look good. So I'm like, okay, well, it's going to be a while before we build a wall. Yeah, years, and that's okay, but so I'm like, I'm just going to plant this beautiful sedum and let it cover all of the old fallen wall, and it has. So now what's going to happen is my husband's going to say, you got 3 days to move all your plants, or yeah, probably 3 days, and then I'm going to try to save all of this. Yeah, on the top are the blueberries and the strawberries. I'll show you what they look like in just a minute. The blueberries are just covered in blooms. They look super great, and the strawberries as well. It's going to be a great year. So I hope you enjoyed spending time with me in the garden today. Give me a thumbs up if you did. You'll notice that wherever I walk, I have an entourage that follows me. All of my little extra-toed cats. But if you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe so we can stay in touch and you don't miss out on the next adventure in gardening. See you soon.